What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another episode of The Road to Glory. Today guys, we are building an ultimate team and I don't mean like the ultimate team. I don't mean like a team full of 99s or anything like that. And of course this could potentially change throughout team of the season. But I was talking, over the last couple of days about what ultimate team is and what it's become, what it's developed and what it's developed into, should I say. And, I've been praising a lot EA recently on how well they've done with giving people multiple usable options. And just my bench alone, we've got Headliners Orsic, we've got Player Moments Di Maria, we've got Road to the Final Kent, Shapeshifters Mkhitaryan, Future Stars Osimhen and James, Player Moments Ziyech, Flashback, Endavira David Villa, Future Stars Sar, Player Moments Bernardo Silva, Objective, or what was this one called? Season. Was it season objective, whatever it is, storyline Perisic and Shapeshifters Acuna. And it's great to have all these players, but one problem that comes with having all these players is that you can't always use all of these players unless you hamper yourselves in one way or another. So if you want to use David Villa, you either have to use that Iniesta or an Icon or another Spaniard. And that's not necessarily what everyone wants. I wanted to build a team, which is what we're going to build today, with an asterisk of my favorite players that I have in the club right now that fit the positions that I can use them in. So this is like not necessarily my favorite players either, but just players that I wanted to use. And we ended up putting together a brilliant squad that is going to be super usable, not very well balanced, not particularly meta, but fun and engaging. And it started with me putting in just 11 players that I wanted to use. Sadly, I had to substitute one of those, and I'll explain why in a second. But we're going to be going in goal with Courtois, and the reason why we're going to be popping him in goal is because we're going to be putting Sergio Ramos in at that left centre-back. So that gives Courtois 10 chemistry, and then, of course, we're going to be going for Jordi Alba in at left-back. Already, these two players here, two of my favourite players. This Jordi Alba, I would have said is likely to get upgrades. But now with the coronavirus stopping all football, all sports, Champions League is done at the moment. Premier League is done. La Liga has been suspended. This might be just how his card ends for this year. Who knows? But this little trio here is real nice. Now, when I was building a team of players that I wanted to use, the first player that I had actually put in was Lena's SBC card. This card looks real good. 4-star skill moves, high work rates, really well-rounded stats. 99 stamina, which is great. His passing is real good. He's got perfect speed. With an Anchor Chem star, he becomes a monster card. Even with a Shadow, he becomes a really good card. But for me to be able to use him, I wouldn't have been able to use the centre-back that I wanted to use on any sort of chemistry, and that's this Flashback David Luiz. And even here, this is why I'm personally looking forwards to, hopefully next year, EA doing more milestones. I would like to use, I don't know, Sanchez or Akanji or this Polenta card. I really, really like this Polenta card. I would love him to be my everyday centre-back. Just the possibility of me actually having him as my everyday centre-back is impossible unless I really sacrifice chemistry. And so I still picked players that I like and that I wanted to use, and David Luiz is definitely one of those. We've got already 199 games on him. And then in at right back, you probably saw in the squad there, we already picked up Hector Bellerin. So I went and did his SBC. We've got one game on him so far. This is a good card. This is a really good upgrade from EA. Player Moments Bellerin. I highly recommend you guys to go and do him. As far as a fullback in the Premier League goes, he's right up there. And so that's our back line for this squad. Again, it's not particularly every single player that I would want to use. As an example, what I would really love to do is take this Acuna and play him at centre-back. Put an Anchor or Shadow on him and pop him in there. The thing is that's impossible for multiple reasons. Number one, he already gets a chemistry deficit by being out of position. And number two, I wouldn't have any links to him. He'd get 1 or 2 chemistry points. He'd get a massive stat loss. And when this game mode, which is called Ultimate Team, is not actually allowing you to build your Ultimate Team, that's where it gets a little bit frustrating, which is why I would wish that they would do more with other milestone areas and allow us to build shapeshifter teams and future star teams and actually achieve something by doing that rather than doing it off our own back for fun, So that's the squad that we've got in the back line. In at the centre mid spot, we're starting him as a centre mid, but we're going to be playing him up front, and that is going to be Joe. This is a card that, for me, looks brilliant. Very much like David Villa, very much like Osimhen, who's another player that I wanted to use, and that's where we'll get to in a second. Joe is there, 4-star, medium low work rate, 6'4", really good stats with a sniper. You know, a little low on stamina, but that's absolutely fine because we've got a bench full of players that we could bring on instead of him. Joe moves in there, and then in the right-hand side on the midfield, we are using Ricardo Quaresma. So this is where my first issue already comes. How do I now link a Brazilian and a Portuguese from two different leagues from two different completely minor leagues without using an icon? And sadly, the answer was you can't. So I had to put Ian Wright in there, in spite of the fact that I wanted Osimhen to be my other striker. So in my mind, this was me putting my team together. Osimhen and Joe were to be my two strikers. Quaresma would have been one of my outside cams, and Kevin De Bruyne would have been one of my CDMs. And then, of course, it's very easy to see who I'm going to throw in at left mid here. One of my favourite players this year, Eden Hazard. We've already got a lot of games on him as well, 131. I really like this Eden Hazard card. I find him to be very, very good. I'm happy to have him. I also love this Di Maria card. 5-star skill moves, a 2-star weak foot, really good stats. And again, just a little low on stamina. And then the last player in the club was going to be Wayne Rooney. Now, the problem that we had with this team straight away, me using just my favoured players, is that it was unbalanced. I don't have any CDMs. De Bruyne we can use as a makeshift CDM because he's got really well-rounded defensive stats. And Rooney we are using as a makeshift CDM because he's got decent defending stats, not anywhere near considered well-rounded and good physicals. But again, he's a little low on stamina. But these are the 11 players. These aren't particularly the 11 players that I would like to use. Like, I'd like to use that Bundesliga right back. I'd like to use, the Argentinian centre-back or the Polenta centre-back here. But this is 11 players that would be a lot of fun to use. Now, if I put Osimhen down to a cam, he would be on 4 chemistry. That would get us to 76 chemistry, and that sadly wouldn't be enough to get boosts to any of these players. It needs to be 80 team chemistry to get a boost on a 4 chem player. So, Wayne Rooney would be getting -1s. Now, -1s aren't too bad, but it's still bad enough to the point where you don't particularly want to use it. Some of the players would still get a little boost. Obviously, the 10 chem guys would get a small boost, so it's only the guys that were wildly off chem. So somebody said to me, why not use an icon and then sub them out straight away? So just by putting Ian Wright in there, we go up to 97 team chemistry, and we get now boosts and, sizable boosts on our players, almost full boosts for some of the players. Kevin De Bruyne gets a nice boost. Obviously, as a team of the year is irrelevant. Eden Hazard gets a really, really nice boost in there. Wayne Rooney gets on perfect chem and gets a good boost for those defensive stats to the point where he goes up to 81 defensive awareness, 83 stand tackle, and only 60 slide tackle. But it's not terrible, as a CDM. So we end up coming away with this team, and now I'm going to sub out Ian Wright at half-time for one of the players on the bench that are my favourite players. But when building this squad, guys, the idea was to just build a fun team, a usable team with players that I've picked up throughout playing this game. And, we've got 4 player moments, 3 flashbacks, 1 icon, 1 player of the month, 1 road to the final, and 1 team of the year. Of course, I would like to have been putting a future stars in there instead of the icon. But it's sad to me that for me to play with a squad like this, I have to, A, go out of my way to build a squad like this, and B, we get punished in terms of gameplay for potentially having, players that aren't right for the meta, which is sad. We only have 1 5-star skiller in Quaresma. We only have 1 5-star weak foot in De Bruyne. And then the rest of this team, it's 4 stars at best. The backline is really strong, and the team itself is actually quite good. I'm surprised it gets to 97 chemistry. But this game is supposed to be called Ultimate Team, right? And so what I would love next year or this year, if EA can ever implement it, is just the ability to work these players to being better. So Ricardo Quaresma right now is on 7 chemistry. It would be great to do one of, or if not both of 2 things. Number one, it would be great that after a certain number of games in the club, after 10 games he gets loyalty. It would be great if after 50 games, he got Strong Link, and after 100 games, he got Perfect Link, right? So I know that even right now, I've only played 1 game with him, so he doesn't get the boost. After 10 games, he'll get +1, and that'll take him to 8 chemistry. After 50 games, he'll get the Strong Link to anyone he's there with. So now he already gets 10 chem after just 50 games. Or if you want to make it hard, make the Strong Link 100 games and the Perfect Link 150 games, right? So for you to get that triple link, you're going to have to link them into 2 players or whatever. So that's the first thing that I would love. The more you play with a team, the more chemistry they get together, or the more you play with a player, the more chemistry that player gets, so that you can eventually just build your ultimate team. Well, you see soft links. How cool would it be if just after 250 games with any player, they just get soft links to every player? At that point, even for the 150 games or 100 games or 50 games that I'll be playing with these players that would be futile, I know I'd be working towards getting them better in my club with the chem boost. Alternatively, the other thing that I would like to see is, I know that they're about to add a tab into the game for traits, right? So you're going to get your player bio, which now shows skill moves and weak foot, work rates, height and prefer foot, so on and so forth. Player details, which might well be the most useless tab they've ever had. I don't think I ever really use this tab. I only skip past it constantly. And then attribute details, which is nice. They're about to add traits in the next update, in the next patch. And so we'll be able to see the traits of the players without having to go to Footbin and things like that. And then next, it would be nice to see milestones. So each player or selected players or whatever have individual milestones so that I can upgrade Joe's stamina. Play 15 games, gain 1 stamina. Play 40 games, gain another stamina. Play 50 games, gain another stamina. Score 20 goals, gain 1 finishing, etc. and etc. So even if I am playing them off chem, if we don't get a chemistry boost, I'm still able to actually grow these players and use and utilize these players in a fun way. So currently, guys, in champs, I'm 8-1. 7-1. I beg your pardon. You guys saw yesterday, obviously, the one loss that I took was to Rat Badge FC. He sniped me again. I just backed out of the game. I'm not playing against him. So 7-1 with this squad. We're at +6 form. On a Sunday evening, which is where I'm playing this game now, I could come up against any range of player. We could come up against absolute superstars that are just on their way up, playing the games late. We could get unfavorable matchmaking, where at +6 we match a guy who's +10 or +12. We could get favorable matchmaking, where we play against a guy who's like evens or +1 or +2. We could come up against a guy who's like, in his last couple of games and is literally at the +5, +6 range, which would put him to like what, sort of like 14, 15 wins and maybe 16 wins and like 12 losses, something like that. So right now on Sundays, it is literally a crapshoot of what you get for an opponent until you start like wrapping your form up a little bit more. We've got a bit of space down that left-hand side, and here goes Joe. And he's in the one game that we played already. I played one on stream last night after I built this team. Joe actually scored 2 goals, and there's Ian Wright. Oh, good save. Joe actually scored both goals, and we got a rage quit, which was nice. But yeah, so I want to get to 14 wins this weekend. Obviously, we don't know what the rewards are going to be. You see, we don't know if we're going to get. What's this guy's passing about? He's just tackled his own player. Oh my god, how's he got the ball back there? Is that a new skill move? That must be a new skill move. We don't know what the rewards are going to be, so I'm not going to play past 14 wins this weekend because it's basically a case of if the rewards are sick, then next weekend I'll be more than happy to play all 30. But knowing EA as I do, it's very unlikely that these rewards are going to be all that much. And here's Joe on his weaker right foot, and he pops it in again. And I scored a banger with his right foot yesterday as well. But there you go. There's a goal for Joe. It wouldn't surprise me if the rewards weren't good, but it also wouldn't surprise me if the rewards were really good, as EA try and fight for users right now based on the coronavirus. They know that a lot of people are at home. They know that that is fantastic play. And there's Joe again, and that is another lovely guy. And that might be a rage quit as well. And it is. There you go. 2-0, 2 goals with Joe, and an easy game, easy life. Ian Wright and Kevin De Bruyne with the assists. And that's why I want to play with these kind of players, man, because it's just way more fun. If I would have scored those same 2 goals with Player of the Month Player of the Month Neymar, or Team of the Year Mbappe when we had him, or Team of the Year Mane when we had him, who cares, man? Who cares? When you score with someone that you went out of your way to earn, that you spent time and energy on, it just feels so much more rewarding. And even on 8 chemistry, guys, he's now 2 games, 4 goals, and both of them resulted in rage quits. So really, really happy with that. But basically, guys, just to go back into it, I don't know what the rewards are going to be this weekend, and I can't imagine they're going to be outrageous or outstanding, especially due to the fact that next week EA are reopening FIFA 19 Weekend League. Blows my mind. I still now can't understand why they're doing it or what they're doing it for. So we'll have to see what the rewards are going to be for that as well. But that's where we're at right now, guys. So that was the team that I wanted to build and show you guys now. I'm going to go and play a whole bunch of games with this team. So we'll get the gameplay for that. You guys will see that tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on whether or not I start a PC-only Road to Glory. I still haven't like fully decided within myself yet whether I'm going to or not. But that's actually going to be the end of the video then for today, guys. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.